Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the release of DeepSeek v4. Now, this isn't just some minor update. This is an AI model that's causing a huge stir in the open source community, and we're going to break down exactly why. Let's just start with this quote, because it really says it all. This isn't just another small step forward, it's a DeepSeek moment. It's a sign that the open source world is getting seriously close to the big players. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at what makes this a DeepSeek moment. Then we'll meet the new models themselves. We'll unpack what I'm calling a game-changing triple threat, see how it actually performs in the real world, and then we'll zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
Okay, let's get right into it. What exactly is it that makes this release feel like such a big deal? Like a real moment?
Well, the crucial point is right here. It all comes down to DeepSeek's commitment to open source. See, they didn't just release the model, they released the base model weights. Think of it like this. They didn't just give us the finished car, they gave us the entire blueprint and all the parts. This lets developers everywhere build on their work, which is a massive contrast to the closed-off black box models from some of the bigger companies.
Now let's meet the two powerhouses at the heart of this whole thing. Because DeepSeek didn't just give us one option, they gave us two very different flavors. On one side, you have the heavyweight champion, the Pro version. This thing is a monster, a 1.6 trillion parameter model built to go toe-to-toe with the best of the best. And on the other side, you've got the more nimble Flash model. It's still incredibly powerful at 284 billion parameters, but it's much more efficient and easier to manage.
And here is something really wild. Both of these models share a massive 1 million token context window. To give you some perspective, that's like being able to feed the AI an entire epic novel in one go and have it remember everything from start to finish. This just opens up so many possibilities for analyzing huge complex documents or giant code bases. It's a real game changer.
So why is this release so disruptive?
Well, it boils down to this game-changing triple threat: performance, efficiency, and accessibility. Let's break each one down. First up, performance. Now, this table shows something really interesting. While the model is perfectly good at knowing facts and reasoning, its real superpower is in what's called agentic capabilities. Think of it as the AI's ability to not just answer questions, but to actually do things, to plan, use tools, and execute complex tasks. And in that arena, it is an absolute top performer. Second, we've got efficiency. And wow, the new Pro version is a huge leap forward. It uses 27% less raw computing power, or flops, than the previous version to do the same job. That is a massive optimization that saves a ton of energy and money. And the efficiency gains just keep on coming. Thanks to some really clever engineering, it's also incredibly memory efficient. It only needs about 10% of the memory cache compared to the last version. In simple terms, it can do a lot more with a lot less, which makes running a huge model like this much more practical. The third part of this threat is accessibility, and it all comes down to the price tag. At about 15 cents per million input tokens, DeepSeek v4 isn't just a little cheaper, it is dramatically undercutting its competitors. This makes top-tier AI power available to a much wider audience.
Okay, so all that theory sounds great on paper, right? But how does it actually do in the real world? Let's see what happens when we ask it to build 3 different apps from scratch. This is where you really see what a model's made of.
First challenge, build a complicated website from a list of detailed instructions. And the result? Pretty impressive. It followed the plan almost perfectly. The big takeaway here is clear. It's fantastic at executing a plan, but its creative side, well, it's a little generic unless you give it super specific design prompts. All right, next up, something more complex, a 3D programming challenge. And you know what? It's a very similar story. The model absolutely nailed the complex functionality. It built exactly what was asked. But again, the visual design was definitely its weak spot. It really highlights its strength in logic over aesthetics. And finally, a real-time app to track the International Space Station. This was another win. It successfully pulled live data and rendered the Earth pretty accurately. Now, it wasn't perfect. There were some minor bugs, like a mysterious second dot that popped up on the map, but for a first try with zero human help, that is remarkably capable. Okay, so let's zoom out. We've seen the tests, we've seen the specs. What are the broader implications of DeepSeek v4's release for the entire field of AI? Well, a few key takeaways really stand out.
First, that gap between open source and closed source models, it is shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. We're talking maybe 3 to 6 months behind now. Second, there's a fascinating geopolitical hint. The model was validated on Huawei's chips, which points to China's growing power in the hardware space. And finally, there's this tantalizing mystery. We still have no idea what hardware it was actually trained on. All of this leaves us with one final big thought. As open source models become this powerful, this efficient, and this cheap, they are catching up to their closed source rivals at an incredible pace. So the question is, what's the next move in the global AI race? The entire landscape feels like it might be on the verge of another massive shift.